My name is Richard Forget. I'm from Toronto, Canada. It could be pronounced Forget also, but I prefer the more pretentious version. So when I was a young magician, I created an act based around producing birds when I developed an allergy to the birds. So at that point, I had to start from ground zero. I had no act, and I had to go to my little black book and start finding ideas that I had jotted down that were maybe someday, and make them happen. And I created an act that's taken me around the world just because I really believe this. If I didn't get sick, maybe I wouldn't even be in the business anymore, because it forced me to be creative.
This next act is truly unforgettable. Here is Richard Forget.
Mounting an audacious
A devastating earthquake measuring 7.4 on the Richter scale.
Nice to meet you.
You too, yes.
So cool. How how do you even begin to come up with something like that?
Oh my gosh, well, so you see something, you know, you could be doing something really mundane in your life, and you look at something and say, huh, what if that, you know, reading a paper. What if I were to fold this up and actually make it float around? That's what would happen with that.
And so from the idea to this, how long is that journey?
From the beginning of when I thought of the idea to when it actually happened was about 3 years. So I'm just thinking of what could happen, and then once it kind of goes through that process, you start building it.
Yeah. And then the first time you sort of successfully performed.
Oh my gosh, what a rush.
All right, cool. Well, I'm excited to hear what these guys have to say about this.
So am I.
Well, this act is one of those acts that takes a really, really long time. I mean, people come out here and try to do a trick or two to try to fool us. That's a whole different category than what you're doing. This is a full routine that would go on anywhere and please any audience, anytime. Every move goes into the next move. And I'm gonna just detail a few things here to the audience at home. It'll sound like I'm just talking about monster movies, but there was Daylight Seance, there was Zombie, and you did this thing that I love, which is you use multiple methods, which is the best way to fool people, in that you try to say, how did he make that bird fly? And you can't answer that question because the way you made that bird fly was different every time you looked at it. Your handling of the star ring or the key ring was just beautiful. The couple of little feints that went first to make us think you weren't going to do the full thing and then doing it. And then ending with something that's very reminiscent of Robert Houdin's butterfly trick, and just keeping those birds flapping the whole time.
They're not tired yet.
I know, they just have
right.
a great deal of power. It was a wonderful, wonderful routine, but we think we figured out how you did, and a few of those words should have told you.
So are you convinced they know?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Richard Forget. Not enough magic for you? Not a problem. Penn and Teller perform next. You don't want to miss it.
pretentious version. So when I was a young magician, I created an act based around producing birds when I developed an allergy to the birds. So at that point, I had to start from ground zero. I had no act, and I had to go to my little black book and start finding ideas that I had jotted down that were maybe someday, and make them happen. And I created an act that's taken me around the world just because I really believe this. If I didn't get sick, maybe I wouldn't even be in the business anymore, because it forced me to be creative.
This next act is truly unforgettable. Here is Richard Forget.
Mounting an audacious
A devastating earthquake measuring 7.4 on the Richter scale.